Hello, welcome to Mission Driven Monday. My name is Chantel Adams, and I'm here with Amber Humphries. Amber is a blogger and a speaker. She's an entrepreneur, and she's also a singer and a songwriter. She has so many talents that I really don't even know where to begin. I first met her because I heard her beautiful voice on stage, and it's one of those voices that when you hear it, you feel like there's an angel singing somewhere. And it's so beautiful. She will always be really, honestly, my favorite person to listen to on stage. I just love your voice so much. And I say that.
I'm not going to cry. It's fine.
I know. I mean, I say that with all honesty. So I will definitely be posting a link to something that Amber sings because you will want to hear her voice for sure. That's why I was so excited to interview her today, just because I know that she's doing so many things. I mean, I just told you that she's a blogger and a speaker and a writer and a singer and all these things. And that's what Mission Driven Woman is about. Every week I get to interview somebody who I admire and who's doing something cool. And all of these people are people that I know personally. And I feel like we all know people that are just doing incredible things. And so often we look at what's happening on TV or in the world and we think I could never be like that. But we all have the potential to do amazing things. And so that's why I do these interviews. So welcome, Amber.
Thanks for having me. I'm so honored.
I know. I'm excited to talk to you today. So every week we ask the same 3 questions. And that's what I love about this is that I just get to hear the perspectives of different people that I know who are in different life stages, who maybe live in different parts of the country, and who have a different kind of life than I have. And so we're going to start off today with my very first question. And I wanted you to tell me about your proudest accomplishment. And I mean, something that you've overcome that you didn't think that you could do, but with God's help, you were able to do it. So tell me about that.
Yeah. So I would say it's kind of a twofold thing. One of it would be living and going for the life that my husband and I wanted and that we dreamed of. Like, we have broken a lot of like generational things and things that were stuck, on us from our family of origin. And just that we have fought so hard to become the people that we are today. The fact that we keep trying to get better. And I know that's kind of a fluid answer, but that means a lot to me, that we're always working to be all that God has for us to be. As far as like a singular answer, I would say it has to be the way I conquered my health, because I was obese my whole life and I've lost about 100 pounds. And so that was huge. It was one of those things I never thought I could do growing up. And even when we got married, I was just like, this is an impossible mountain to climb. And so the fact that I've done it and then, turn that into now helping others, do that, like that's unreal to me.
When I hear you say that, it's a common theme I feel like comes up with women is when I ask them about the things that they care about or things that they're thinking about, they almost always say, you know what, I don't want to be a different me, but I want to be a better me. And that looks different for everybody. And there's different parts of that. I mean, there's a spiritual component, there's an emotional component, there's physical component, like you said, losing all that weight. I mean, that's a huge amount of weight to lose. And so I can only imagine like all of the other things that you had to overcome to do that, like the spiritual things, the emotional things, and all of that, like, and still feel you inside that body that's now different,
Yeah. It's funny because the emotional part of that was actually really testing for my marriage as well. When I lost so much, I had never been, healthy before or remotely confident. And so all of a sudden having this, new, I have to figure out who I am in this body and, mentally feeling like that same person, but like getting all this different attention and like everything was different, honestly. And so, I was a kid when I got married. So, kids are not that smart. So just figuring out all of that and who I was and having to decide who I wanted to be, because it wasn't like, I had these boundaries naturally put on me from, just being obese. And now it's like, well, world's your oyster. What do you want to do with it?
Yeah.
And me even having to like decide that and what that meant in my marriage and what that meant, for me spiritually. And that was pretty huge. It was a pretty big journey.
Yeah, I can only imagine. How old were you when you got married?
21, and Jared was 20. So I had to buy him a drink on our honeymoon.
So funny. Gavin and I were 21 as well when we got married. And I love that because I feel like we grew up together.
Yes.
And we don't have any of the baggage that I think a lot of other people have when they get married later in life.
I know we often watch movies and, people who go through these breakups and we're like, can you what is that like as an adult? Like what,
I know. I hear you. Well, now you're kind of in a new season. You are married. You have 2 little girls, twins, and you have a blog called City Mouse Mountain House, right?
Yeah.
And so you moved from the city out to the country and you're starting this new adventure. What do you feel like you're learning right now in this new season?
It's so funny because as I was sort of thinking about this question, I feel like it almost changes weekly, it's having to unprogram from, I have to achieve all of this and I have to achieve it on basically what does success look like, and redefining that for myself. Because it's funny, I think in my last blog I posted, like, I feel like God has so much more for us as a family and as, a couple and as individuals for Jared and I. Like he has a lot more that he wants us to do in much larger scale, but I also feel like he wants less from us, that he has less for us, that there's a stillness, that, and a quietness that we don't currently, especially me, just because it's not natural to me and my personality, that he wants our family to possess, that is going to be a real learning process. So kind of both of that, being open to the more and the less all at the same time. And what does that look like?
I was talking to a woman a couple of weeks ago, and totally different life journey than yours. But she said kind of the same thing, that she was like, I want to live small, but she was like, but I want to do big things.
Yeah.
And it was such a cool way to think about it. And I was like, oh, I got to write that down because I really want to think about that more. Like, how can I be small, but also like do big things? I don't know. It was just I think it's an interesting concept. And you sort of said the same thing just now in a different way.
Yeah, exactly. That's been Jared and I sort of rally cry, is the peaceful home, adventurous life. And that's what we're chasing a little bit. So yeah, it's definitely that same, like you said, and I was like, yeah, that's it. The small and big and all of it, because we want to live simply, but also like, that doesn't mean not doing any like huge things with our lives, So
I know. I love that peaceful home, adventurous life. I hope you have a big sign that you're going to put in your house.
I want to get one. I do.
Yeah, you totally should. That's your life motto. So moving on. So in Mission Driven Woman, we sort of talk about past, present, and future. And so our last question is about your future. And I want to ask you about your aspirational self. When you think about the future you, the future Amber, who is she? Who do you want to be?
Grateful and generous. Like one of the greatest desires of our heart is to be able to be wildly generous with finances and time and giftings, and that's also part of the reason we're out here is moving towards that. But it's so funny because I have everything feels like an oxymoron in my head, because I want to be still and confident, but like I also want to be this total warrior,
Mm-hmm.
that like breaks down every generational thing and every like just out there with a spiritual machete, just like
Yeah.
taking stuff down. So like, but I guess like it's, when I think about it, it's kind of biblical, like being both meek and powerful and like all these,
Sure.
like, and that's what I want. And I know that's not like I'm not great at like putting a nice bow on a like, just write out these, because I
I,
feel like,
I know, but I think that's what makes people so wonderful is that they're so wonderfully complex that we can be both of those things at the same time. Like it's not either or, it's and both
yeah.
at the same time. Yeah.
And I think like freedom is a big concept that I'm always gunning for, but like in all the ways, like I want to be free financially. Like we don't want to have, we want to even pay off our house and everything. And that's part of
Mm-hmm.
the being financially generous. We want to be free in our lives to be able, if God says like, go back to Uganda and stay for a couple months and we can take the kids and go to Uganda. And, so like free with our time and free with freedom in the spiritual way too, where I don't let fear or anxiety or all these things that make up all my imperfections here on earth hold me back from anything that he has for me, that I can just bravely walk into
Mm-hmm.
any, mission field with total assuredness, so really freedom across the board.
Yeah. That seems like really such an aspirational goal because I think, especially as we get older, we feel so much less free. We have so many commitments and obligations and just things that we think that we should do. And, you don't want to get to the end of your life and be like, I wish I would have, I could have, I should have. And so that freedom is such a huge thing. And I love that you're doing that while your family is young before you do have all those shackles around you that you can't break free of. And I can see how that would be very inspirational for people. So I'm glad also to see that you're talking about it and that you're out there and saying, hey, this can be your life too. Because people they don't know how to break free. They don't know how to do that. And it sounds like, that's something that you're really passionate about and kind of showing people how to do.
Yeah, it's something, I'm always figuring out. And I'm really, really blessed to have such, an amazing husband who also wants that for our lives. It's funny because we're such different people.
Yeah.
Like we couldn't be any more different, but we're so at our core the same, like our heart
Mm-hmm.
beats for the same things. And so it's very handy to have someone that you can say like, all right, we jump in. All right.
Yeah.
And sort of, we both want that so much that we're willing to go through all the discomfort that it takes, because
Mm-hmm.
it's hard, but it's possible. And I just want people to know, like it's funny because I hear that all the time, like, oh, I could never do that. Like, oh, we dream of that. Or,
Mm-hmm.
oh, you're living my dream life. And I'm like, why aren't you living your dream life? Like, why aren't you doing it? Like, I'm nothing special. I'm just like somebody who decided to try, And
Uh-huh.
I feel like so many people are capable of so much more than they realize because of these hollow limitations that they put on themselves because of expectations and what's normal and what.
Mhm.
And I'm not saying like that a 9 to 5 that you love and are faithful to, that pays good, like that's fine if that's freedom for you. Like I think that's fantastic. There are people who are built for that. I'm
Yeah.
not built for that, but I think it's the courage to jump, like to go for, like to know, to be quiet enough to listen to that like pull of your heart, and
Mhm.
to be faithful and courageous enough to follow it and do whatever it takes to find it.
Yeah.
And like I want that for people because I can't imagine life any other way now.
I know. Well, I love that. Thank you for sharing your heart today. I really appreciate it. And I hope that all of you enjoyed this conversation as much as I did. Thank you for joining me for Mission Driven Monday. And I hope you will join us again next week for another edition. Thank you, Amber. And as always, I will post links to everything that we talked about, to Amber's blog and to her music and to all the wonderful things that she's doing. And even, I know that you're all wondering, what is that great lipstick color that she is wearing? Don't worry, because I've asked her and I've got a link for you. So I will also post that, and I'll see you next week. Thanks.